today we're going to be reacting to Icon Amsterdam. This is a $30 million fashion brand being run from a jail cell in Dubai.
Imagine you, me and the boys going to Dubai, driving some Lamborghinis.
This is a little bit controversial, right? These guys have been locked up and there's been a lot of dirt thrown on their name recently. Me personally, I don't think they're guilty, right? They do run a big ecom brand. You can't hide from that. I think they've just maybe been involved in some stuff. But one thing that I will say is the fact that they are able to have a business that runs completely without them, despite being in jail for a few months, actually shows how solid their business is. We're going to go over the entire business, their acquisition strategy, how they're selling the products, why their products are selling. I'm going to give you an honest review at the end of this video to why this works, and out of 10 what I'm going to rate this ecom business. So let's get straight into it. Now look, you're not going to scale an ecom brand to $30 million if you're not doing stuff at a high level, right? People love to throw dirt on people's names, okay? But this is a high-level e-commerce business. And I'm gonna show you exactly what they are doing in order to get numbers like this. Now, the first thing that you need to watch is Theot. This is a Facebook ads OG YouTuber, right? And he runs Facebook ads for ecom brands. I remember watching this guy way back in the day, 6-7 years ago. I used to watch him to learn Facebook ads. Anyway, he actually scaled Icon Amsterdam from $300K a month to $2 million a month. And one of the strategies that they used, he actually goes over in this video. So let's take a look.
Them at that time, like, dude, they had like one creator that would send out 4 creatives a month. All 4 of those creatives would become winners in their account every single time. They were testing, I don't know, 40 creatives a week, and they had their own creative like process in the back end. So I'll be fully transparent. We didn't do the creatives for them. Like, they were sending us the creatives just to put live in the account.
This is the front end acquisition strategy, right? They scaled a lot of their business through Facebook ads. I know these guys have come out recently, personal brands, but these guys have actually been running in ecom for quite a while, right? They've been doing a lot of money for a long time. The reason why I brought this up is because this is one of the main things that you'll notice with these guys, right? You've got to look at the price point, £50, £35. That is sort of Zara level pricing, right? Well, the models that they're using are not some random guys off the street, right? They're using these type of models where you have to pay a lot of money for that model. Now, the reason why that's important is because all of a sudden that takes you and puts you in a category of much bigger brands, because the much bigger brands are willing to pay these kinds of models. So you get your brand associated with the bigger brands because of the type of models that you're using. So for example, you've got this guy here. This is Alex Bowen, right? He's got a big social media following, 1.5 million followers. So this is a well-known guy. Now what happens is when you use people like this and you run Facebook ads at a high level, what you're actually getting is you're getting people that recognize him and they associate him with high-level projects, and all of a sudden your brand gets seen as a high-level brand. But the type of product they're selling at the price point, it's not a luxury brand, is it? So these guys are really trying to think outside the box and do things a lot differently, and it's definitely paid off for them, right? So that's the first thing. One other thing they have is, well, they used to have, they've not been posting YouTube videos since being locked up. Free them, yeah? Now this is the second part of the strategy. This is the organic strategy. Unfortunately, they've not been posting videos from a Dubai jail, right? This has had to go on pause for obvious reasons. This was actually part of the strategy where they're getting organic traffic. Now, they're making these lifestyle type of videos and they're very flashy. This is why these guys get a lot of hate, right? They're very flashy, but end of the day, they're growing a business on social media. The flashy thing is a acquisition strategy and it works, right? It gets views. Now, what you're gonna see here is they're posting organic content and they've got the links underneath their videos, right? Now, there's 2 places that they're sending the links. One, you've got their Millionaire Commerce coaching program, and then 2, you've got their actual brand, Icon Amsterdam. Now, loads of people love to say scam. They're running a $30 million a year brand. Why are they not allowed to sell mentorship? They are qualified to do it, yeah? So they're selling mentorship, which is obviously a lot more profitable because it's info products, right? And then they're also pushing their brand organically. Now, once you push your brand organically and you get a lot of traffic to it, if you do it properly, you're going to be able to capture that customer information and market to that customer later down the line for free through something like email. And what you're going to also find is they've got a good organic strategy for Instagram from their brand page. Now, 500K followers, they're getting a lot of traffic from this. They know what they're doing with social media. This builds a lifestyle around the product, and because they're both also pushing their personal brands, or they were doing before obviously they got locked up and stuff like that, They were pushing their main product page, which is Icon Amsterdam. And by the way, that Instagram title would have been millions of dollars, just Icon, one words, prime real estate that. And they've also got their personal Instagrams that they're quite flashy on. And it's all a funnel going to either their Ecom brand website or their mentorship website, right? So they're serving two parts of the market. Now, this is very important because they have a large paid traffic strategy through Google ads, the shopping campaigns, and Facebook ads, right, that they're actively still running. So when you've got a blend of organic traffic and a blend of paid traffic, the organic traffic makes the paid traffic cheaper, and it means that you can spend a lot more on paid traffic. Now, when you can spend more on paid traffic, you can make more sales. When you can make more sales, you can spend more money on the content. You can spend more money on the content, you get more views. More views, more sales, and it's like this cycle, right? It's like this cycle. Now, the cycle's being killed because they got locked up, yeah, which is a shame, but it is what it is. But the business is still running, it's still going. They clearly know what they're doing to a certain extent. First thing that you're gonna see when you get onto the website, they've got the email pop-up. Now look, the good thing about this email pop-up, you haven't got sign up, you've got claim my discount, 10% off. They've got a good offer, and they've also got a bit of scarcity. So this was a timer, and this is gonna incentivize people to actually put in their email address. Now, the next thing is you've got not just closed form, but no thanks, I'll pay full price. It's just a little bit extra, it's gonna increase that opt-in rate. You see, if you're pushing paid traffic and you are pushing a lot of organic traffic, the reason why you want email is because you want to convert those people through email. If you're trying to convert customers through email, it costs pretty much nothing to send the emails. So if you've got this full engine driving traffic to your site, a lot of them are going to be window shopping, not ready to buy. You send a sequence of reminders and email campaigns, and you can convert a lot of those customers later down the line. These guys will be doing 40 to 60% of their revenue, total revenue, through email marketing. I would not be surprised. This will be a main channel for them. Now, the reason why this works so well is because they've found their niche. So what you'll see is from the price point, it's a very affordable, lower end price point, right? But they're using products that are trending, but these are cheaper versions of the designer product, right? So the first thing that you'll look at, see these. Now these are meant to look like Loro Piana summer walks, right? But this is a winning product. This has been made popular by the old money aesthetic that you're seeing across Instagram. Now they've taken this, that's an £800 retail product from Loro Piana, and they've made a version of it which is affordable to everybody. And they're also selling it with stuff like buy now, pay later options. So they're taking that same product and that same desire that's popular in the market, and they're making a cheaper version to serve it to a different part of the market. Now, what you'll see is they have got a unique style. It's sort of this men's style, right? But a lot of their products are winning products from bigger brands and made into cheaper versions. So if you go to their best sellers, what you're going to see, a lot of these products are actually winning products from different brands. So, you'll see here, these are a bit more like Alexander McQueen-ish trainers, but a suede version. This is a bit more like Manier Devoir style. And then you've got Muscle Fit t-shirts here, which are more like the Represent ones. And then you've got loafers, which are similar to the Loro Pianas. And then you've just got some plain clothing. And, stuff like this. This is like a popular Loro Piana top. Zara made a version. For summer, this is the type of stuff that you're going to see everywhere. Product shoots, it's shot in a summer vibe. Yeah, look, they find what's winning, they make a cheaper version, and then they find the winners out of that, and then they're displaying it in a way where it's a high perceived value still, because they're using the same models that are being used for designer shoots, right? And you can see, the aesthetic, it's clearly a men's fashion brand, and it's all quite plain stuff. And yeah, they're finding winning products, and they're just rinse and repeat in the process. Like you'll see here, this is a bit like a Theot B22, right? Cleans also did a version of this, and they're just doing a version of it. But the thing is, when you compare this to a Dior, the guys who have budgets for £65 also like Dior's, right? But they don't have the budget for it, so they're just serving the market at a different layer. And it's just stuff like, they've got plain stuff like t-shirts, and this is a bit Casablanca type of two-piece, and look, it's all just plain, ribbed clothing. Then it's like, you've got this jacket here, I believe this was a winning jacket for them. This is like the Moncler version with the sleeves, the Moncler version with the knit sleeves, but they've just made a plain version, right? But the guys who have this budget, they still like the Moncler. For this, they'll be paying around £20, £15 for this, and they've got a good markup on it, so it's a good margin. Once you're serving this lower level of the market, these guys, really, they want a lot for a little, right? So you've got to offer the returns. you've got to offer the fast shipping, and most importantly, you've got to offer the buy now, pay later options, which they clearly do. They've got clear pay at the bottom here. And the good thing about this brand is they focus a lot on average order value, because when you're serving this lower level of the market, some of the products that they're selling are actually quite low cost, right? Now, they probably make decent money on these shoes, but something like this, they're not going to make insane money on. You know, if they're selling this for £20, they're not going to make insane money on it, but they are pushing for the average order value to be much higher. So if you see here, you add a product to the cart and they've got these upsells straight away. And they've not only got the upsells in the cart, but they've got a incentive to shop a lot more by buying a certain amount of things to get free shipping. So you see, if you remove a couple of things from the cart, you've got to spend £100 to get free shipping, and then they've also got upsells here. So it's a very no-brainer to add more things to the cart. So these guys know what they're doing. And they've also got more suggestions, customers also bought, and you know, even more suggestions down at the bottom. And look, even here, this is like a Loro Piana hat, right? It's a cheaper version. The Loro Piana hat's like a few £100s. This is like a £25 version. So look, these guys know their aesthetic, they know the style, they know how to sell the products. But it's the positioning of the products, right? They found the product market fit, but the positioning these lower tier products, quality-wise, it's not going to be the same as Loro Piana, but it's affordable, right? But how they're displaying the product, they're displaying it in a high-value manner. They're displaying a lifestyle with the products, because this is the thing with fashion. Usually, if you're selling in e-commerce, you need to sell to a pain point, right? If you're selling to back pain, customers have that pain. You can market that by agitating the pain, right? But if you can't agitate the pain with fashion, so with fashion, you need to sell to a certain lifestyle. Now, that is what these guys are doing. They're documenting the lifestyle on one, their personal brands, because they understand the power of personal brand selling, and two, the actual aesthetic of the product shoots, the models, and their social media profiles, and stuff like advertising. So for a customer, for what they're seeing of Icon Amsterdam as a whole, all they're seeing is the website, the product photos, the ads, and any social media content. So if you can make that into a certain style, then that's where you're going to really increase that perceived value to be much higher, and you're going to talk to a certain part of the market. So the type of product, it's like a high fashion lookalikes, right? Now, when you look on the product page, what you're also going to find is they're using all the tricks in the book. So you've got a size chart here that is showcasing the exact sizes. You've got multiple colors available. You've got the prices in red, which just showcases the sales price. You know, if you go into a supermarket, why do you think the prices are in red? Like, it's for a reason. It's because that works. Okay, now these guys know that in e-commerce, and that's why these guys are doing it. It's going to show you exactly how much you're saving, because for a customer who's shopping the lower end of the market, they love saving money. You know, they've also got this size chart here, so you can put more information in. You can actually compare it to different trainer brands that you would have. And look, you need all these things because there's all these different reasons that customers can have in their mind to not purchase, right? Does it fit me? How fast am I going to get it? Can I return it? Do I trust this site? So the more things that you can do to answer these questions subliminally, the more sales that you're going to make and the higher your conversions are going to be. Now, if you're an independent e-commerce brand owner, you can make a lot of money by copying what these big brands are doing, because you are getting the benefit of them spending a lot of money, getting a lot of customers, and testing a lot of data. And if you can copy a few things off them, you get the benefit of the tested data, right? But you've not had to pay the money for it. So that's a little bonus that you can do. But yeah, they're displaying the type of payment methods. So they're just creating no excuses. Now, one thing that is pretty huge with this brand is actually how they fulfill products. So if you go on the YouTube channel, what you will see in some of the vlogs, they actually take you around to their office in Amsterdam, right? And they've got a full team. Now, what you notice in the full office, okay, there's no stock in this office. This is not a warehouse, so where does the stock come from? This is where the genius comes in. They actually use this 3PL, which is a third-party logistics, meaning that somebody ships the orders and stores the orders for them. Now, this is actually held in China, and it's 4 to 10 days delivery for worldwide delivery. And you've actually got a high order accuracy and faster lead times. Now, the benefit of this is you're not having to ship the orders yourself, you're not having to deal with warehouses being robbed, you're not having to pay for the warehousing, you're not having to deal with the staff to hire them, and you can send from China 4 to 10 days worldwide. This is huge. This is huge. So you're saving the money, because where the product is being manufactured, the more steps from that product being manufactured to ship to you, to then ship to the customer, the more expensive it's going to be with postage and just general costs of people to do the whole process, right? So the closer that you can send from where it got manufactured, that's where you're going to earn the most money, right? And look, that is why these guys are sending directly from China. I know some people are going to go, oh, fucking China, shit quality, da 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 da. Listen, everything comes from China. China can make the highest quality products in the world. There's nothing wrong with items coming from China, right? So these guys are just actually taking some of the cost down so they can make more profit. And then, to be honest, at the price point, they're passing the savings to the customer anyway. So this is how you're going to be able to have higher margins for your products and scale a lot more. And you're not having to invest as much money in the inventory. And look, trust me guys, I have paid thousands for running my own warehouse, right? It's expensive, it's a headache, and it just takes your business and it stops you being able to focus on a lot of the actual front end and digital assets. And you have to actually focus on the physical shipping of the product and have all the costs as well. So this is a way that you can scale without all that risk, without all that financial risk, and you don't have any cash tied up or as much tied up. So look, yeah, overall, I'm gonna rate this brand probably 8.5 out of 10. This is a very high level brand. They know exactly what they're doing. They've got the good product market fit. And look, the fact that the founder is in jail and the brand is still running, that shows you how strong that this brand is, right? And you do have to take notes of that. This is a really strong brand. They've got the acquisition strategies set up. They're really doing things right, and they're really thinking outside the box, and they're really good at social media and positioning the brand as a very expensive brand. So look, I cannot fault this brand. 8.5 out of 10. That's a good score from me. This brand gets my approval. Well done, boys. Free Samuel.